Welcome back to the Fitness League, helping busy humans build strong bodies, sharper minds, and better lives. Join us each week as we cut through the noise, challenge the norms, and empower you to train smarter and live stronger. Kylie asks, how the heck do you run in zone 2? I've been running for a couple months now for distance, about 4 miles straight, but recently started tracking my heart rate. If I'm running a 13-minute mile, I'm in zone 3, minimum on a good day. I don't think I can be in zone 2 unless I'm basically walking. Noting that I do live in 6K feet in elevation. We'll be diving into this question and many more in today's Q&A episode.
This is common, Kylie. I feel like with the rise in popularity of Zone 2, I feel like there's lots of just confusion and frustration out there for a lot of people, which is fair. To recap for anybody listening who's like, I don't even know what Zone 2 is. Zone 2 is typically somewhere between 60 to 70% of your max heart rate. And you can figure out your max heart rate a few different ways. 220 minus your age is probably the most basic. There's also, I believe it's called the Matheson formula, which might be a little bit of a more accurate formula. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think it's more geared towards females and athletic humans, for lack of a better term. Like if you have a higher fitness level already, like you can use this one. It's a little bit more precise. But with any formula or calculation like that, keep in mind too that that's also just kind of like a starting point. Like you might have some individual variances that occur. So if you are trying to track your zone 2 and you're using a heart rate monitor, first things first, if you're just using a wrist-based method like a Garmin or an Apple Watch or whatever, insert whatever watch here, that's not going to be as accurate as using a chest strap. So I would, if you want to track heart rate, I would recommend getting a chest strap to pair with your watch for like the most accurate. But along with that, you can also just go by feel and what you perceive as your zone 2 or easy pace, quote unquote, is going to be a pace that you can comfortably stay at for an extended period of time. So you can have a full conversation without gasping for air. It feels very comfortable. It feels boring. It feels just monotonous, but that's kind of a good indicator that you're truly at an easy pace or a zone 2 pace. Some things that can make this feel just not great and impossible, almost like a lot of you are complaining you can't stay in zone 2 while you're running. You may simply need to just improve your aerobic capacity, increase your aerobic base, so you're not yet super efficient at those longer durations. You might be doing too much intensity, so if you're used to pushing hard at every workout, it is going to feel really hard to slow down and do zone 2. Things like caffeine or not recovering well can spike your heart rate and kind of give you not an accurate zone 2 reading, running too fast, obviously. So how do we get there? Some of you who do need to build your base literally just need to incorporate walk breaks. You need to slow down even more. So if you're already running as slow as you possibly can, incorporate some walk breaks. That might look like run for a minute, walk for a minute, run for a minute, walk for a minute, depending on where you're at. Josh, you even said that you tried this recently when we talked about it, I think on one of the most recent Q&As where you were overstriding and you just started taking more steps and that kind of helped you run slower, better, I think you said.
Yeah, I'm officially training for my first ultra now.
So just incorporating different methods like that can just be helpful in helping you guys kind of achieve zone 2. And I just want to reiterate, like, if you start training this way, it's going to take more than a couple weeks to see progress. And I think a lot of people think that it's going to happen really fast, where you get maybe a month in and you are expecting your pace to improve or you're expecting your heart rate to stay in that zone 2 space while running. I think it's somewhere around 6 months for this to be a dramatic difference. So it's going to take consistency. It's going to take, anywhere from 3 to 5 times per week of focusing on this to improve it over time.
Now, for those of you who are watching, you might be wondering, why is this guy looking like Marshall Mathers? And I made a conscious decision today to match my mood to my outfit. So one of the things that's grinding my gears right now.
It's got your panties in a bunch.
It's got my boxers wedged
in a
between
bundle.
my butt cheeks in a bundle. Is these science bros who I consider equally as guilty as the gym bros. at creating polarization on social media.
Mm.
One of which I sent to you guys in our little group thing after our episode we recorded yesterday about, fatigue and maximizing or optimizing efficiency on training. And the first thing I see on social media is this cartoon angry man talking about how cumulative fatigue is this silly little boogeyman that nobody should worry about.
Fatigue is bullshit. Yeah, that was so
bullshit.
stupid.
So on the other side, it might have been the same group of bro scientists talking about how zone 2 is bullshit. So for the world, can you please clarify on when it is optimal to be in zone 2? I know you mentioned the easier runs for building cardiovascular endurance and that aerobic zone here. Is it super cut and dry, black and white? Should we prioritize zone 2? Is it all bullshit? Walk me off the ledge before I start knocking out teeth.
Who are you asking?
Go ahead, Joel.
Both of you.
You can jump in.
It is my personal belief, I'll say personal and professional, that it's likely that what zone you exercise in is a bit overblown. That's kind of my general consensus. If you train and you do cardio, you are going to become more fit. No matter what zone you train in, technically, you are going to get more fit over time. So I can agree in that sense of like, I wouldn't go as far to be, to say zone 2 is bullshit, but do you always need to necessarily be worrying about staying in zone 2? Not necessarily. If you are trying to train in a very specific zone for a very specific reason, whether that's marathon training, pacing your runs a certain way, then yeah, there might be some specificity. I can tell you when I'm on the Peloton, first of all, I don't even know my zones till I get off the bike because I'm not actively tracking my heart rate while I'm riding. I see what zones I was in after I was riding. If when I started riding the Peloton, I was always in zone 4, zone 5, which is true. And now when I ride the Peloton, I'm in zone 2, zone 3. I know that I have gotten more fit because my heart rates have come down. I've noticed that trend over time. Not that the Aura Ring told me, it's just a trend I picked up on myself. And wouldn't it be nice if you had something that could track trends and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so my stance essentially is do your cardio, do a mix of HIIT training, steady state, zone 2, zone 5, doesn't matter. You are going to get fitter. The reality is, though, to the original kind of question in the Facebook group, the reality is if you can't stay in zone 2, you don't have the cardiovascular fitness yet to stay in that zone. But I also don't think, like I saw some comments that were like, yeah, I have to walk if I want to be in zone 2. Well, the walking's not going to get you fitter. So I don't necessarily think it's advantageous to tell people, okay, yeah, stay in zone 2 to get fitter. And now the people who were running and in higher zones are now walking to improve their fitness, which doesn't make sense at all because they're not getting their heart rates to the place that they want to improve cardiovascular fitness.
Keyword though, like you're speaking to the general population, but you did touch on this. If you want to get better at running and if you want to train for a race and if you want to increase how long you can run and how efficient you are at that distance, you do have to do most of your runs in zone 2 because if you're running 5 times per week, you will not be able to recover from zone 4 to zone 5 running 5 times per week at that pace. It's just not going to happen if you're also strength training, if you're also doing all the other things. So if you want to be a better runner and get better at running, most of your runs should be in zone 2 because that's what you can recover from. It's kind of like you're able to get more volume and miles in because your recoverability becomes higher. So that is why people are harping on zone 2 in the running community right now with running having its boom. But I totally agree with Joelle too. Like if you're just trying to get more fit and do cardio and balance it with your lifting and blah, 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 like you don't have to hyper focus on this. Recovery matters. Paying attention to all of those bigger foundations and those blocks that we talk about all matter. Do what you're able to recover from, but don't get so hyper focused on zone 2. And keep in mind, if you actually want to get faster at running, you still have to do speed work at least 1 to 2 times per week. So the zone 2 work isn't going to necessarily make you faster. It just makes you more efficient as far as how far you can go and keeping that heart rate low.
Did that answer your question, Josh?
I like it.
I don't
like
even
it better
remember what
than-
it was anymore, but hopefully we
I don't
answered
either.
it.
Tyler says, I pulled a muscle in my neck this morning trying to take a selfie while running, shaking my head. Would you guys take a few days off of lifting and running or just push through the sharp every time you move your neck the wrong way? I finished this run, but it felt awful. Got my lift in, but modified everything to an RPE of 5 or 6 instead of 8 to 9. Is that a waste of time? Is it better to take a break? Said selfie did damage. So annoyed with myself for thinking I'm hot shit, and now I'm hurt shit. We're going to have you writing our taglines for this podcast, I think, Tyler.
Tyler, your selfie is gorgeous, though. I
It looks
commented back to you.
wonderful.
It is like your hair's flowing, the sunlight's coming through. I think it was worth it.
That's the
pain.
Alessandra run selfie right there.
That is. So you can go ahead, Joelle.
I was going to say I am very prone to what I think she's describing is like that pinched neck feeling where you're like, oh my God, you feel it. It like burns for a second and then you can't move your head and you're like, what did I just do? I definitely think that you can still train. I don't think that you need to take off entirely, but I would kind of go with the movement as tolerated frame of mind.
Yeah, I think you handled it perfectly. It sounds like you dropped your intensity. You did what you could. I think it's one of those things that's probably just more annoying than anything because you can't really, like for me, it's like you can't look a certain way. So it sucks, but hopefully you'll be on the mend soon.
Hey guys, real quick. If you've been listening and thinking, I need to start doing something for my health, but I don't have time for a full program, that is literally why we built the SDE Method app. It's a fitness app made for real people with real lives. Busy parents, working professionals, anyone juggling 100 things. You can get a smart, effective workout in around 30 minutes, some even closer to 20 minutes, and log out knowing you made progress. You can finally take the guessing out of your workouts. We have workouts designed to be done at the gym or at home, and you get access to all of them when you sign up. As life phases change, you can pick a new one that aligns better with what you have going on right now. And one more thing, we are also qualified for HSA FSA reimbursement. So just hit the app link in the show notes, start where you are, we'll help with the rest. All right, let's get back to the show. Staying with the running theme, Jordan asks, favorite running and lifting shoes? With running shoes, do you guys think it's best to get your foot scanned and get more of a custom insert based on that? I've seen that running shoes can really help or hurt your runs. How much truth is there to it?
I think there's truth to it. You don't want to be running on like super old worn shoes or shoes that aren't meant for running. And I think at the same time, everybody has their own preference. So it's less about getting your foot scanned. Like, I don't think everybody has their opinion on that, but I don't think this actual scan is what matters the most. I think it's really how certain shoes feel and what you prefer. Like, do you prefer more of a cushiony shoe? Do you prefer more of a flat shoe? Everybody's different and everybody's feet are different, obviously. So I think it is helpful to go to a running store and try things on. Do they have to have the fancy scanner? Probably not. Well, is it going to hurt you? Probably not, but definitely pick a shoe that feels good and try to test it out while running first if you can. But I think the other important note I want to make here is I really don't love lifting in my running shoes because with lifting, you want a flat, hard sole no matter what, or like barefoot is like the most ideal. You don't want that squishy, super chunky running shoe for lifts. It's just it's not stable.
Yep. And also you should be replacing your running shoes. Like I think it's 300 to 500 miles.
Yep.
Somewhere in that range.
At least 300. Once you hit that part, you can swap them out for a new pair. Some people like to rotate through different running shoes. Like if you wear a certain kind for speed runs once per week and then you wear your long, slower distance running shoes, that can kind of help just extend the life of them a little bit more too.
Charis? How would you say that? Charisse?
I don't know. Let us know.
I want to make sure you're saying that right if you ask more questions in the future. Are you guys going to release a powerlifting program in the app at some point? Why, yes. Yes, we are.
We are. Hopefully very soon. But it is coming.
Allison asks, I can pronounce that one. How can you do cardio at home without running or equipment? You could do literally anything that elevates your heart rate, whatever you enjoy. Could be shadow boxing. If you have a heavy bag, I know you said no equipment, but maybe you go get a cheap bag off Amazon, or you just literally do shadow boxing in your room in front of a mirror. You could do jumping jacks. You could do burpees. You could
Jump rope.
Jump rope without the rope, extended sexy time, whatever it is that elevates your heart rate for extended periods, we can count that as cardio.
Josh really is in a mood today.
No fucks given today.
Yeah, you can get a cheap jump rope on Amazon though. Like I think it's a worthy investment because I don't know about you guys, but I'm not very efficient at jump rope.
I meant you could literally do it without the jump rope. Like you could just
I know what you
hands.
meant, but I think, I don't know. I guess you could without it, but I think it adds another layer of a challenge to actually jumping over the rope.
Yeah, I think the challenge with something like, jump squats or burpees is that your muscles are likely going to fatigue before you actually get a good bit of the cardiovascular benefit. Because you technically can do anything for cardio, but you do want it to be consistent. You don't want it to be something that's constantly stopping. So if you are doing 10 reps of a jump and then you need 3 minutes of rest, and then you're doing 10 jumps again and 3 minutes of rest, it's not the most efficient, but it would be better than nothing. You would get your heart rate up.
Olivia says, my husband and I buy a cow grass-fed from a local farmer once a year. How would you track macros for the ground beef? I usually drain the meat, but some packages are definitely fattier than others.
I want to do this, by the way. Why don't we do this?
We looked into it.
We have a hard time wrangling our chickens. Where are we going to put a cow?
No, you can buy a cow that's not living.
You can buy
the cow's already
But they're not the local farmer.
We have a local
Yes.
farmer here, that we can order like a cow, a half cow, and you just basically freeze all the meat.
You think they buy a new cow every year? She said, we buy a cow grass-fed from a local farmer. They would have a whole collection of cows every year.
Not if they're eating them every year. They buy it
My
and
God.
they eat it. Do I look like I'm in the mood for this today?
Oh,
If
you're
this
not
is
watching this either on YouTube or Spotify, please pop into one of those to just see Josh today.
This is my new podcast persona.
This is
Hope
your
you guys
new
like it.
You
alter
probably need
ego.
you need
I
a
feel
new
like we need a
name.
name. Yeah, you need a new name.
You thought I was going to come up with it on the spot? You're looking at me waiting.
Yeah, I did.
No, I don't have it.
Let's hear it.
I don't have it. This is this is Butcher Box. It's not a
Let-
farmer down the
let the
road. It's a
people
farmer
name
in
you.
Australia. The people name me. Okie dokie. This could get
Okay,
interesting.
wait, we have to answer her question. How would she go about tracking ground beef? That's a good question.
Someone else commented and said they do a cut sheet, quote unquote. So it'll let them choose the fat ratio, like 80-20, 80-15. If it's a local farmer and this is more of like a rural area, they might not know.
Yeah.
I would honestly just use your best judgment. I wouldn't
Yeah.
obsess over it. And if you do, if you want to play it safe, you could just pick the highest fat
One of the fattier
ratio
ones.
and
Yeah.
go with that as far as tracking it.
You could also just, try to estimate with your eyeballs based on, like, if you go buy one package from the store of each, like 80-20, 85-15, 90-10, see what it most closely resembles. You can kind of tell. That'll get you close.
Tell ground beef.
Yeah, you can.
Ground beef's a little hard, but I know what you're saying, like how much white you see in it, like how much
Exactly.
fat you can see in it. I think that's a lot easier in something like a steak that's raw versus ground beef, but you might be able to.
Especially if it's
Kind of.
grass-fed. I think you'll have a good shot. That's going to be some nice red meat.
But
Not
at the end of
the
the day,
dull
I don't
pink
think
stuff.
it's make or break.
No, I'd
your-
probably go with like an average of 85 and
Yeah.
Call
wing
it a day.
Yep.
All right, Tally says, kindergarten coming up in a few weeks for my big kid. Any tips on helping with the transition for her and mom?
It's harder for you than it will be for her, at least in my experience. Like
Mm-hmm.
I remember last summer at this time, Kai was getting ready to go to kindergarten. And did I cry? I know I didn't cry the first day of school. I wanted to, but I didn't. Remember, I was so proud that I didn't cry.
I drive him to school. What were you crying for?
We all went together the first
No,
day.
you definitely went together the first day because I remember
Yeah.
Alessandra sending me a picture.
Yeah, Cora was a baby. I was pregnant, and we all went together. And I was really proud that I didn't cry the first day. I did cry on the first day of preschool, though. I think the hardest part about kindergarten is when he went to preschool, it was just a couple hours versus kindergarten here is the full day. So I think it was just for us, it was like the whole day away from him, and that was a big transition for us. But we did talk about it a lot with him leading up to the start of school, like for a few weeks, and kind of just, made him super excited that he got to eat lunch with his friends and made it like a really exciting, big deal. And I think that helped a lot. Also, I got these little friendship bracelets off Amazon, you can literally probably type like mommy, kid, school bracelet and it will pop up, but it was just a silly little bracelet and it came with two, and I wore one and he wore one, and I said, anytime you feel like you miss me throughout the day, look at your bracelet, and I'm wearing my bracelet too, and anytime I miss you, I'm going to think about you. And he loved that, and I think that only lasted for like a week, and then he stopped wearing it. But it was just it was just something cute for him to like just remind him that we're thinking about him and that we'll see him when he gets home. And yeah, I think it was just more so just mentally like making it exciting and not stressful for them, which I know most of you are probably doing anyway, but I think that helped the most in my opinion.
The biggest thing with Kai specifically, and I'm sure the rest of the kids will be like this too, our kids, it's routine. Like the moment you shift routine, there's this big feeling of anxiety, this big feeling of apprehension of that change. So like the first week is definitely the hardest, but if you can keep your morning routine similar leading up to going to school, I think it helps tremendously. If one thing throws us off, one thing's out of order, it's like we're kind of flipped on a dime a little bit, and those are the tougher days for him to say bye.
I think that's also why you drive him to school every day, because there was a couple times where I did, and that threw him off completely. Like he cried at school. I cried those days.
I remember you telling me.
It wasn't the first day that I cried. It was this random day that like he waved and he's like, I love you, Mom. And he had tears in his eyes. And I was like, oh, brother, I'm crying the whole way home. But
she ripped a burnout all the way out of school.
I remember that day you texted me. I think you were just like crying in your car and you're like, I feel so bad. Like I took him today and he was so like, he was upset.
Yeah, I think you were sick or something. So like even just that, like always having Josh bring him has been really helpful for us. And me, mostly
we even have that with daycare. Like I'll take, Sloan to school 99% of the time. But since we moved some of our Friday meetings up, Brant will take her on that Friday. And like now she's gotten better with it. But at first he was like, she was crying when I was leaving. I'm like, crying? She hasn't cried in years at a drop off.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's the change of routine. It really does matter, I think. But
routine shift. Thesomeone
else commented under Tally's post here saying something along the same lines. They were concerned that I think in their pre-K program, they got a couple hours outside, and when they transfer to kindergarten, it's only 25 minutes, and that does stink. Like that's a big difference. I wish we had like outdoor schooling.
I know.
Or like they have like nature preschools in some states. Like we don't have any of that here. But Josh, I
was just gonna say, based on how our pre-podcast conversation went, I'm surprised that you just said that.
I don't know what triggered it yesterday, or maybe it was this morning leading into this morning and all the shit that was going off. But it was this thought and realization that I had, like with where we're at and all the stuff we've been buried under, and thinking about the future and what this all looks like. This will never change. And I've had this conversation, like my hairdresser is launching a new product, and I kind of give him these little mentorship sessions. But like the challenge shifts, you conquer something, but there's always another challenge that's going to take up your time and your bandwidth and your energy. So like this, to say it bluntly, this has sucked for a few months now. Like this has just been ass. But if we can't shift that mindset.
Just to clarify, not like our kids and parenting. We're talking about like just business
this
and
chapter of life. Right?
Yes.
This chapter of life has just dumped on us for a few months straight now with just curveball after curveball after curveball. It's not like, you're so lucky you get to work from home and be with the kids. Well, there is no off button. Like it's 24/7. This thing is a living, breathing, additional child that we have to care for. And there's two of them. There's two sides of this. They're technically two. Anyway, that feeling is never going to change unless we actively decide to change it. What are we doing that allows us to enjoy the hell out of every single day? And I love what we do. Like, to be very clear, like I'm grateful to be on this path with you guys and the community.
We wouldn't be doing it if we didn't love it.
That said, if I didn't love it, the burnout would have knocked me out cold weeks ago. But I do love it. So we're here, we're figuring it out, we're moving forward. All that to say, we need to do a better job of coming to the realization that this lasts forever. This is never going to change, regardless of what obstacle we overcome. There's always another one waiting for us on the other side of that one. And balance not in a work-life balance sense, but balance in regards to those tasks that are required and making sure that our effort is going into the things that are actually moving the needle and not just taking up time. We do a lot of things in life and in business and in work, if you're an employee, that is just busy work that doesn't actually do a whole lot for accomplishing the mission and the thing that you've been tasked with completing. So being more efficient with those things is what I want to address on that side. Bringing it back to homeschool. Even in the summertime, and the way that Kai's been acting and just the chaos with the kids, and we kind of lost way with the structure, with the flow that we had during the school year. And I know for a fact, if we created a regimented day, this is what we do at this time, this is what we do at this time, very similar to what we do for ourselves, behavior would improve. He would have more fun. It's not this random, go do whatever you want, you got all this free time, it's summer, hooray, woohoo, it doesn't matter, you can do anything. And then you get the, well, I'm bored, I don't want to do that. So there is freedom in discipline. There is freedom in having structure. This is what I do at this time. This is what I do at this time. This might be a free independent play period for us, for the kids, whatever you want to call it. But that's this chunk of time. And having that flow, having that schedule does add value to everything else. So when we go through this audit process, which we will very shortly, and create structure for ourselves at home, for ourselves with the business, for our kids, I have no doubt that it's going to move the needle tremendously on a lot of different fronts. And when you talk about homeschool, like you're not teaching for 7 hours. Like it's up to 2 hours tops per day. I don't even think it's that much. It's very minimal. So to have those structured blocks, here's what you're going to be doing. And these will be things that you're going to do on your own. And, we'll figure out what that looks like. And then here's the active teaching period. I believe it will be a lot more manageable than we've kind of led on. And a lot of that is just, we are due for a total audit with everything that we're doing right now.
We are. And it's funny because I even think about the days that we are crammed, and even the days that I plan everything out, down to the hour and time block, I'm so much more efficient than the days that I kind of just say, okay, I have the whole day to get the stuff done. I'm just going to kind of do it here and there. I get everything done on my to-do list and more on the days when I am planning things out, and there's a block scheduled for each thing, even if it's okay, at this time Cora and I are going to play together and I'm not going to worry about work. At this time, this is when I get my social media stuff done. This is when we insert, when I schedule it out like that, it's crazy how much more I get done in a day.
Even since I made the shift to getting up at 4:30, the amount that I'm getting done from 4:30 to 6, and then I lift at 6, is very close to the amount I was getting done through the whole fucking day prior to that, because I took the time to create time for just me. Nobody else is awake. Nobody's moving around. This is my time. And here's what I'm doing at this time. When I wake up, here's the 10 minutes to get ready. And then I'm doing this from 4:30 to 4:45, and then this is my next task. I got to get the blog up. I got to get the podcast up. I got to create these reels from this clip from the podcast and excerpt. So I have chunks of time that I do in that morning, and then the rest of my day is still a bit of a free for all. But I am so efficient and productive in that first 90 minutes, and then I get my lift in so that I don't have to break up my day later on with everything else I'm getting into for flow state. That's a whole nother conversation. You might have 8-hour chunk of time, but if it's broken up with little interruptions, even if it's a 10-minute, 5-minute, 3-minute interruption, you lose that flow state, which is a huge problem for me with marketing, with creative, with all the stuff they're putting together. So the schedule thing and being strict and disciplined, trigger word for a lot of people, whatever you want to call it, it makes such a difference, and it is so empowering, and it is so freeing, which sounds opposite, but it is what happens.
Yeah.
What do you think, Joelle?
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with what you're saying. I have, obviously, the way we do things in our house is a little bit different, which is fine. Your family and my family have totally different childcare situations, and there's pros and cons of both. And so I think for me, the homeschool, it sounds so great in theory. And also, one of my core values is to be where my feet are. And for me, that means when it's work time, it's work time. And when it's family time, it's family time. And I very rarely, granted the last few weeks have not been great. There has been a blend of the two. There's a lot of days where I go pick up Sloan and I'm still working and we're sticking the TV on because other things have to get done. That is not our typical MO. Usually like childcare hours, I'm in a work grind. Home time, I am home time, laptop off, away from phone, all in on family stuff. I learned very on in my own postpartum experience, and granted, I don't have a spouse home with me. So me being home with both girls, trying to do work really means my kids aren't getting all of me and my business isn't getting all of me. And so that's when we started going the kind of daycare preschool route. And we started with 3 days a week. And that was great. And then it became 4 days a week. And that was great. And it got to a point where like she wanted to be in school. She wanted to be there more. She was bored at home. She wanted the stimulus. She wanted to be with friends. She wanted to be doing fun crafts and having outside time and doing the things that I wasn't necessarily able to do with her because I'm also trying to work. So for me, keeping my kids home all day sounds wonderful. And also at the same time, I know I couldn't give motherhood my all or work my all if everyone was home all the time. So for me, that's where I run into an issue with homeschool. In theory, I would love to homeschool, would love it. I have worked in the public school system before. I've seen the inside of the public school system. I would love to not have to do that. I also, at this current point in time, don't know how I could make that strategy work for my family and my business and my kids in a way that benefits everyone. And so there is this constant like cost benefit analysis that you're doing, right? As a parent and as a business owner, where you're like, how do we, all of it sucks. I feel like all options suck if you're a working parent. So which option sucks the least and which option does like my kid benefit from the most, my family benefit from the most, finances benefit from the most? You're like constantly doing this cost benefit analysis. So I am not pro or con anything you're saying. It's just, I agree, hard to figure out. And you're constantly doing this audit of like, what could we be doing differently? And it only takes like one bad drop off for me to have like, I'm pulling her out of school. I could do this all. I'll keep her home with me. So yeah, there's an emotional play with all of it too, where you're like, I want my kids home, but I also need to work. And I also want to give my kids my all so that my time isn't split with work. And again, you guys are in a little bit of a different situation because you can kind of divide and conquer sometimes. And I know Alessandra has been like wearing it probably in terms of kids lately, because you're really heavy on the back end stuff. And then Alessandra has work that she has to get done too, where she's trying to multitask a million things. So yeah, there is a constant audit of like, what makes the most sense for our family? What makes the most sense for our kids? What makes the most sense for our business? And I respect anyone in a similar position because it does feel like there's no great option. It does feel like you can't do it all and you somehow figure out how, and it kind of feels like all the options suck and I'm just going to try to choose whatever I feel like is the lesser of all the evils in this current moment. Yeah. And I also, know that we all feel really grateful and really blessed to even be able to say, we have all of these options.
Right.
And which one do we want to choose? Because we do have a lot of options and we do have the freedom to choose what options make the most sense for our family. But it's those options are still hard. It doesn't make it easier per se that we have options. It just, sometimes it would feel easier if we didn't have options and you were just forced to do things one way and that was the only way. But we have created a life of options, which is beautiful and wonderful and also really stressful.
Mm-hmm.
Sure is. Listen, if you're tired of the all or nothing cycles, the diet starts Monday, the I know what to do, I'm just not doing it feeling, we should probably talk. Our one-on-one online coaching isn't just about workouts and meal plans. It's about building something that actually fits your life. No cookie cutter templates, no guilt, just real coaching and real results. Plus, we've got a pretty big team, so we can even pair you with an expert who actually understands your lifestyle because they've gone through it too. If that sounds like what you've been missing, check out the link in the show notes to apply for coaching. Then we'll send you the link to book a free, no obligation consult call with our team. There are no hard closes. We won't even take your credit card over the phone. You'll get the details to sign up on your own time. And more good news, we are in fact qualified for HSA FSA reimbursement. One last thing, we even offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. What are you waiting for? Spots are limited, so apply today. All right, let's get back to the show. All right, this was a shorter list of Q&As, so I did come up with a rapid fire. But Jordan snuck one in that's actually on my rapid fire list, but a little expanded. So we're gonna jump in with this one, and then we'll continue there. So Jordan asks, what's the fitness trend you all wish would die and never return? I feel like recently I'm seeing a lot more trends happening, and I guess I don't know why so many creators / coaches push information that isn't actually helpful just for views. I am with you, Jordan, and I hate trends for this reason. This was something that we actually talked about on a creative meeting with our actual team. And I know there can be some pros and cons to flipping trends and pushing quality information through a trend, but I fucking hate them. I think it's one of the shittiest parts of social media. I was a opposed to the concept, even in doing it in the right way. I just don't like feeding into that ecosystem. But I think right now, what I've heard a lot is, even on podcasts, there aren't a lot of great things coming out right now, really useful things, helpful. I think there's a bit of a lull. So people are trying to manufacture interesting things to talk about in lieu of providing value. This is kind of fun to listen to talk about, to share a little bit, but you're not actually going to get value from it. It's just entertainment. So as opposed to the education or edutainment, it's been just pushed straight for the entertainment, for what you just talked about, views, increasing audience, getting yourself out there, which I don't enjoy. I'm with you. That's my spin on it. What do you guys think?
I think most of the time it is for clickbait or engagement. And like you said, the fitness industry is so saturated. And then that also means the fitness information is so saturated that in order to set yourself apart, you sometimes have to go against the grain or be polarizing or say something that's going to catch attention. And a lot of times that means peddling bullshit for views. I don't know if there's one specific trend that I particularly...
Skinny talk. That's a trend that can die.
Yeah.
The skinny trend is back. That's probably when I think of fitness trends, I mean, even not to hate on Pilates, but just using that as an example, that's been trendy. High rocks is trendy right now. Running has been trendy. So I think it depends what you're talking about in a sense.
Yeah.
But as far as the content side of things, I think, and I wrote this I started a little marketing email series to our coaches yesterday, and I think there's a time and place for trends, but they have to be done the right way when it comes to content. So what I mean by that, you often will scroll Instagram and you will see a lot of the same trend or a lot of the same video, and people just regurgitating information because someone started this trend and it took off, and they're just literally copy and pasting it with their own face on it. That's not how you do a trend, in my opinion. When you apply a trend and want it to actually hit, it has to make sense for your brand. It has to be positioned in a unique way for it to actually take off in the way that you want it to take off, whereas it's adding value, it's bringing people to your page and helping them understand who you are. It's not just, I'm going to post this and hope people come, when this thing that I'm posting has absolutely nothing to do with what I actually post about. So that's my take on trends. But what it comes back around to is people just are doing it to get views and eyeballs and likes and whatever. But if it's not actually then supporting the business, or if you don't have a business, or if it's not actually bringing quality followers in, what is it doing? Nothing. It's just wasted energy. And that's kind of why I took some time over the weekend, not taking in any content. I'll do this every so often and just tapping into my creative side. And that's where I came up with the mother shift idea over the last week or so. But I really wanted to tap into what can I put out that is actually going to help build our community and bring people together and make social media more social again. And that's where I landed with the mother shift thing. But with that too, it's I don't want to just post what everyone else is posting. I thrive on being creative, and I thrive on just showing up authentically. And that's ultimately what I decided to do by telling my story, by just storytelling. And I think everybody needs to get back to just being a little bit more unique and being themselves, rather than just trying to copy and paste what everybody else is doing.
All right, we are going to go full rapid fire Q&A style.
Sorry, that was not rapid fire.
Oh, it was a transition into rapid fire. That was not rapid fire. Now it's starting now. Favorite go-to hype song for the last set?
Kanye, Stronger.
Levine, Skater Boy.
Rob Bailey, 100. We're going to bounce between fitness, health, and then lifestyle random stuff. So jumping into that category. Coffee order that tells us everything we need to know about you.
Oat milk matcha latte with sugar-free vanilla and oat milk. There's my coffee order.
Almond milk latte with Italian sweet cream sprinkled with black lava sea salt.
Cortado. Just equal parts espresso and steamed milk. One word.
I feel like each of those orders describe us all very well.
That was pretty good off the top of our heads.
And black coffee
Also
describes him well.
Also accurate.
I could see him wearing a merce. Pre-episode chatter. All right. What exercise do you secretly hate but you know you need? This should be easy for you. You talk about it all the time.
I don't need back squats. I hate them.
Yourself.
I don't think I need them though, which is why I don't do them.
I just hate them.
I'm going with Bulgarians. I hate them, but I need them.
I used to hate them, but I've grown to love them now. I'm just going to give a hate for back squats. Josh, we know how you feel about front squats.
I was going to say hack squats because I don't front squat. I need the hack squat.
I did hack squats the other day, and my traps hurt so bad the next day.
Because it's
Your
different
traps?
placement.
It's like the placement of our, you know what I mean? I was so sore, and I was like, ugh, I don't like that.
What's your toxic
Calf
trait in the kitchen?
raises.
You already went, Joelle. We're on to the next one.
Okay, fine.
What's your toxic trait in the kitchen?
My toxic trait, or the fact that you're always bumping my elbows when I'm trying to make my food.
First of all, A, you guys stink at rapid fire. B, you like to stand where I need to be when I'm putting the dishes away.
It's so annoying.
My toxic trait is I leave crumbs everywhere. You know where I've been in the kitchen because there are crumbs or fallen pieces of food.
I do that as well. I don't know what my toxic trait is. Why don't you tell me what my toxic trait is?
Josh is like, I got
you
a
can do
list.
Mine. Yours is leaving the fruit juice, like from the raspberries and everything, all over the white fucking counters. Drives me bananas.
Yours is leaving a million cups out on the counter because you're going to use them later.
I use 1 cup and you always put them away. So I use 100 afterwards because I'm always trying to find my cup.
I have a few for Brant.
Let's hear it. Poor Brant can't defend himself.
Brant's not even here. He's just getting the shrapnel. Okay. Some of these, I'm not sure if they're toxic traits versus just pet peeves of mine. But if you put an otherwise clean dish on top of a really dirty dish in the sink, so like, let's say a pan full of sauce that's sitting in the sink, and now you took just like a plate that maybe had a few crumbs on it and you put it inside the pan, and now the plate is covered in like grease and sauce and whatever else when like the plate could have just used a quick rinse. That makes me want to take a fork to my eyeballs.
Josh would argue that the whole sink is as dirty as a toilet bowl, so it doesn't matter.
You're putting raw meat in there. It's disgusting.
But you're putting something like clean into something dirty, and now the cleanish dish is dirty.
We're on to the next one.
What is the next one?
I lost it because I was listening to you guys go back and forth. What fitness myth did you believe for too long?
I don't know. There's a lot.
Pick one.
It would be bad for my health. Bad for the liver specifically because of the fructose. That was a few years.
That a meal plan was required to see any sort of progress, and you had to eat the same thing every day.
I needed 40% of my calories from protein when I was eating like 5,000 calories a day. That was the worst.
I have another. That tilapia was the golden fucking standard for protein.
I won't ever eat it again.
Skinny ass piece of fish we throw in whatever version of the air fryer we had back then.
I can't ever eat quinoa again. I'm scarred.
Hot or cold? I actually love a nice quinoa salad now. Cold, oil, vinegar. No? The smell
alone is enough to make me gag.
All right, this is going to be the last one. What is the weirdest thing you've eaten in the name of health?
You're probably going to win that contest, Josh.
I think so.
I don't think I've eaten anything weird.
I don't think I've eaten anything that strange.
Weirdest thing I've probably done is listen to Josh and eat raw garlic.
That was not the one I was going to put, but...
That is a good one.
Apple cider vinegar.
I used to drink cartons of egg whites. Just drink them
gross.
Straight up. Chug-a-lug.
It would go through so many cartons.
We would get the Costco. There was like 12 of them.
2 or 3 of them at a time. Yes, the blue box. We would buy 3 at a time.
someone posted on Instagram the other day, it was like a trending thing that she took a carton of egg whites and mixed it with Hershey syrup and just shook it up like chocolate milk. And people are like, ew, what are you doing? And she's like, it's pasteurized. It's just protein. Like, it's whatever, but
It's disgusting. I don't have anything weird that I can think of.
the 1-carb waffle. Do you remember that trend?
Oh my God, Manda Bucci. Didn't she create it?
It was just it was the
Protein powder.
an egg and a scoop of protein powder. And everyone bought waffle makers in the fitness industry. And
You used to make
everyone
something
just
like
had
that.
these 1-carb waffles. And then you'd take like a little PE Science protein, mix
Or
it
what
with
was
a
that
little
stuff?
water and
What was that
make, like, a
healthy syrup?
Walden Farms.
Walden Farms syrup, because it had like also a carb in it, and you had a
One
2-carb meal. What a
Stevia
time.
and cucumbers.
I remember that.
I went through a stevia and cucumbers phase. Or like microwaving your Quest bar and calling it dessert.
Yep. The Quest bars had like 25 grams of fiber in one bar.
Josh,
All right,
what have you
guys.
eaten? Testicles?
No, I've not eaten testicles. I already did mine. It was just egg whites. That was the weirdest one.
I feel like you've eaten...
I mean, the things I
Gross.
eat regularly you might just think are weird. I don't know. That's, in my eyes, the weirdest one. But we're going to wrap up this
Liver?
conversation with
Weren't
the
you doing
reminder.
liver for a while?
That's not weird.
Yes, it is.
What'd you say?
It wasn't raw. It was cooked.
Oh,
Raw
liver. Yeah.
We're going to practice rapid fire, guys. I apologize. But we're going to finish this up with a reminder that change doesn't come in one big moment. It's built in the ways you keep showing up. Take what you learned today and build the best version of yourself for tomorrow. Where can they find you?
I'm at Alessandra Skutnik.
At Joelle Samantha.
At whatever avatar you guys decide to rename this, and everything else is linked in the show notes.